Welcome to another episode of All Honor. Today we are doing AEW Forbidden Door 2024 predictions. I'm your host, Kaden Lee, and today I am joined by Kimmy. Kimmy, how are you?
I'm great. I'm hyped to be here, albeit Forbidden Door. You and I have talked so much about this card, and here we are predicting.
Yeah, we've had a lot of conversations over the past week or so, and I've talked to a lot of people about my feelings on the card. So I'm interested to go through and break it down and talk about my thoughts and really put them together. I think whenever you break down a card, whether it's before the show or after when you're reviewing, it helps get your feelings in order and figure out how you actually feel about something. I like doing it. So let's go ahead and start talking about this show. It is taking place on Long Island, New York at the UBS Arena on June 30th, 2024. It is the first Forbidden Door in New York City. It's been held in Chicago and Toronto, Ontario, Canada last year. And we have a few I don't know how many. It's 10, 9. How many matches were
10.
announced for this?
10.
10 so far. And we're expecting some more to be added. We are, for transparency, we're taping this during the last few minutes of Dynamite. So hopefully we get some matches announced during Dynamite. I'm sure Tony Khan will add some for 0 Hour the day of because he loves doing that. But we're going to go off of what we have. So let's go through this card, starting with a match that was announced tonight as of recording. The Elite, the Young Bucks, Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, and Kazuchika Okada taking on Scissor Ace, the acclaimed Anthony Bowens and Max Caster, and president of New Japan Pro Wrestling, Hiroshi Tanahashi, in a trios match. Kimmy, I'll let you go first because I have some strong feelings on this. How do you feel about the match that was announced earlier tonight, and what who do you think is winning?
So, before the EVPs and Okada was announced for the show, I was kind of concerned. I was like, are they not going to be on it? I don't really know what's happening. And then clearly they were announced tonight. So, yay. I would have rather seen the titles defended. I understand that this is different than an AEW show, of like a lot of the booking doesn't make sense, a lot of things are random. But I feel like when was the last time we really saw the Bucks defend the tag titles? I feel like their storyline as EVPs are kind of taking over that tag team title reign, and it's kind of sad. And the same thing with Okada. Like, I know he defended it a couple weeks ago on Collision, but I feel like just the character work is overpowering their championship reigns. So there's that. I'm happy that the New Japan president is wrestling on his show because technically it's a New Japan AEW crossover show. But I think the acclaimed and Tanahashi are going to get the win. I think Tanahashi is going to pin one of the Bucks. Then they'll have a meltdown. And then later on, with who I think is winning the TNT ladder match, everyone will be oh so happy in EVP world.
Yeah, I could see that being a possibility. This match, I'm very happy that it's not just AEW versus AEW. I was worried when they started doing that segment that they were going to throw Billy Gunn in the Tanahashi spot. So I'm happy that they got at least a New Japan wrestler in there. I understand why you need to have Tanahashi on the show. Downgrading him a little bit from the singles matches he had in 22 and 23, both for the AEW World Championship. So a pretty big drop to just go to a normal trios match, but that's where Tanahashi needs to be at this stage in his career. And I think when you look at the match itself on paper, I think it makes a lot of sense. The history between Okada and Tanahashi, that was one of Okada's last matches. Was he had that singles match against Tanahashi in his third to last match in New Japan. So it totally makes sense why you would do this. The story makes sense with the acclaimed. I don't love how AEW centric the match is overall, though. It is still 5 members of AEW and Tanahashi, and I don't love it. I think Tanahashi, I think you could have been fine not putting him on the show at this point. I think you could have been fine just having him do a guest spot at some point, and it would have been okay. but I understand why they needed to have him there. I expect Okada to pin Tanahashi here. I don't see a reason for the why the Acclaimed would pick. I don't see them needing to pick up the win because they pinned the Bucks last week on Dynamite. So I think it makes more sense to have Okada hit the Rainmaker on Tanahashi one more time and to fully just put an end to that. And it also gets Okada like a really nice heel victory going into whatever he's going to do after this.
Into All In season.
Yeah, into Blood and Guts. That's the next step for the Elite. Let's go to they have the trios match listed here. We're going to skip. There's a learning tree situation going on that we're going to circle back to when we actually have clarity on this. We're hoping for some later. Let's go to a match that was previewed a little bit ago as we're watching, trying to keep things as recent as possible for our memory. Zack Sabre Jr. is taking on Orange Cassidy in a special singles match. Zack Sabre Jr. continues his streak of having only singles matches at Forbidden Door, as well as his opponent, Orange Cassidy. Zack Sabre facing the debuting Claudio Castagnoli in 2022, the replacement for Bryan Danielson. Last year, these two men faced off in a four-way match that also included Daniel Garcia and Katsuyori Shibata. I forgot I didn't remember Shibata was in there until a second ago. And now they will be facing each other in a singles match. No belt on the line this time. The previous 2 years, we had Zack Sabre didn't wrestle for the belt in 22. He was the New Japan Television Champion last year, but he didn't defend that belt. He wrestled for Orange Cassidy's international title. And then in 2022, Cassidy fought for the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship against Will Ospreay. So these two men just have done a lot at Forbidden Door. They've been put in some prominent matches, and now they're getting the one-on-one match. I think this is going to be fantastic. Zack Sabre Jr., the best technical wrestler in the world. I think he's in terms of a technical wrestler, I think he's a better technical wrestler than the American Dragon Bryan Danielson, who we will talk about a little bit later. I think he is incredible. I think Orange Cassidy is also a fantastic talent who really showed how good he is in his reigns with the International Championship. And while I didn't love his matches with Trent Beretta, he's still a really good professional wrestler. So I'm interested to see what these two do in the singles match. I'm really excited for it. I think Zack Sabre should win. I don't know if he will because he beat Kyle O'Reilly, which it's Orange Cassidy. He's kind of like John Cena of AEW. So I'm going to go with Orange Cassidy. Kimmy, who do you have in this special singles match?
I agree with you. I also think it's going to be Orange because I think one of the things about the crossover with AEW New Japan is, frankly, all of the outside guys tend to lose on this show. So I think that's why Orange is going to get the win. And plus, he still has unfinished business with the Don Callis family, and there's a lot of stuff going on there. So I was actually shocked that this was the match they decided to go with because I thought that like maybe they would do like a mixed tag with like the Don Callis family, Orange, and a couple other people, but I'm hyped for this match. It should be really good. You know, we've been able to see Zack the last couple weeks on Dynamite, but yeah, I think Orange Cassidy is going to get the big win here. He was great on commentary tonight, by the way. He clearly had no idea what he was doing. He was like, I don't really do this. And I was like, perfect. Just keep doing that, Orange.
Yeah, he's really good at that. Actually, I thought he meshed very well in the commentary. It's really hard to fit in there, and I think him and Danielson, who was on earlier, both of them did fantastic in their roles. Getting two really good guest commentators on one episode of Dynamite is special. It doesn't happen often. But I honestly, I would like to see Zack Sabre win because I'm such a big Zack Sabre fan, and I just don't think Orange Cassidy needs it. But I don't know where they're going with Cassidy after the Trent feud, and that's like kind of still going. So yeah, like it just makes sense to just say, okay, Orange Cassidy is winning for me.
It's the safe pick. You know, you always have to have like a lock of the night when you do predictions. This is yours.
It definitely feels like a safe pick. Going on to another match that also feels like a safe pick, MJF will take on Hechicero from CMLL in a special singles match. This is MJF's second match at Forbidden Door. Yeah, he missed the first year. He missed 2022 when he was away from AEW, And then last year, he wrestled Hiroshi Tanahashi. He defended his AEW World Championship against the Ace in the opener of Forbidden Door. I would not be shocked if this also opens Forbidden Door. And this is a weird match to me. I think MJF is good in the ring. I don't. He's not my favorite, to be perfectly honest, in terms of everything. Just not my favorite wrestler. There's a lot of things he does in the ring that just frustrate me a little bit. Like the psychology levels just frustrate me a tiny bit. But he is still a very good professional wrestler. Hechicero, another very good professional wrestler. I am very intrigued to see what they do. This is the match that I'm most interested in, like the styles clash between them. Kimmy, how are you feeling about this CMLL versus AEW matchup here? The first of, I think we have two on this show.
So I agree that I think this is going to be the opener because this is MJF's hometown, and I think they want to like get that huge pop out of the way, especially whatever matches we have on the pre-show. It'll be just such a great way to kick off the show. The problem I have with this match is when MJF had his return promo on Dynamite a couple weeks ago, as he was promoting this show, which by the way on Dynamite, I don't know if you caught it, he said it was August 30th.
Yes.
And I was like, "Oh, buddy, you're a couple months off there." But when he was cutting his promo, he goes, "Oh, I'm gonna face someone random on Forbidden Door, like someone from either New Japan or CML, some random guy." And I feel like that just diminishes the whole point of this pay-per-view. Because if one of your top guys, one of your pillars is like, "Oh, I'm just facing someone random," like what's the point of this show then? If one of your top guys is saying that, who's supposed to be promoting, like, no, you should buy this show because these matches matter and you should try to go to the show. Like, I just felt like that was a really bad promotional tactic and I didn't like that. And I just felt like because of that, it put a bad taste in my mouth, but I do think he is going to win because, like I said, usually the outside guys don't win this match or win on this show, and we're in MJF country this weekend, so he's got to win. He's like undefeated in Long Island.
Yes. I also have MJF winning. I think there's like zero doubt in my mind. I would put probably $100 on this one, whatever the odds are. Don't care. If it would win me a few bucks, I don't care. I was gonna wait to rant about the card. I was gonna try to like spread it out throughout the night. But since you mentioned a little bit about like the promotional tactic, that is another issue I've had. I thought MJF doing the bullshit about, oh, I don't want to wrestle anybody from New Japan. That worked really well last year because he faced Tanahashi, who is the ace of New Japan. That's a really good story. But he even like he mentioned New Japan when he returned to Double or Nothing. And then to not even have him wrestle somebody from New Japan, a company that he's consistently called out, to give him Hechicero where there's almost there's no history. They teased the Daniel Garcia matchup and then just didn't do it. They teased it days earlier on Collision, and then Dynamite comes around and they announce it was going to be Hechicero versus Maxwell. Doesn't make sense to me either. There's all these things that they did in the build to this show where it just didn't make sense. It's my issue with Zack Sabre and Orange Cassidy. There's not, yes, they wrestled each other last year, but there's no like actual meat on the bones there of this match where it's like, is it going to be really good? Probably, but there's more impactful matches you can have, and there's so many really talented people from both company or all three companies who were left off this card, and I'm just shocked by it. I know why Shota Umino isn't on it. He got injured. I think he would have been on it if he didn't. Where is like Mystico? Mystico is not on this card yet. I don't understand why he's not there. I don't understand why you wouldn't have put Rocky Romero in something yet. I'm sure he might get added, but he's not yet. Nobody in the United Empire, Gabe Kidd, Gillo Maloney, Clark Connors, or their leader, David Finlay, nobody in there is announced for a match. We don't have a Jeff Cobb match announced. He did an open challenge, but it's not even been talked about in the last 3 weeks since Dominion. There is no Yota Tsuji on the show. There's no Hiromu Takahashi. There's no Titan. There is no Toru Yano, who I still want to see on this show. I genuinely really would like to see Toru Yano on a Forbidden Door one year. There's no Great Khan. We don't have all of these top guys in New Japan. They're just not anywhere to be found. Or CMLL. Mystico's the top guy in CMLL. They're nowhere to be found. And so while I'm sure the matches are going to be good, I would like to start seeing those people start. Like, I want to see more of that. And that's my issue. There's a lot of AEW versus AEW on this show. And I would prefer if we really made this Forbidden Door, get these people on the card, let Max fight Great, like he said 3 years ago, if I'm gonna fight anybody from New Japan, I want to fight Great-O-Khan. Let him fight Great-O-Khan. Do the match. It might not be good. It probably will be very bad, honestly. But do it because it's fun. Do the matches that are weird, the dream matches. Make the show for the sickos instead of just doing like it's soulless. I think both of the MJF Hechicero match and the Zack Sabre Orange Cassidy, I just think they're a little bit soulless and don't have the spirit of Forbidden Door in them, especially considering we technically saw Orange and Zack Sabre face each other last year. Yes, it was a 4-way, but still they faced off. So I don't want to see that anymore. I want to see these unique matches that we only get once a year. And I feel like they didn't go to their full potential with them on the single side.
I agree with you, especially because I feel like when the Forbidden Door concept started with the first one, it was this big deal because all the bigger stars in New Japan were still there, like the Jay Whites and the Okadas. And now they're in AEW. So
Mm-hmm.
many of those dream matches that people wanted to see can happen every week on Dynamite because now they've signed with
Yeah.
AEW, which is why I would not mind in 2025 if we actually got rid of the Forbidden Door concept and replaced it with something else. Because, like you said, I feel like it's all just random matches and all of the top guys that people want to see on this card never get on it for whatever the reason might be. Like, we don't know what
Yeah.
it is. We're just assuming.
Yeah. I'm a big defender of the show itself. I think it's really good to have and it's healthy for the business. And you can add CMLL in there and add all these other companies and do something really special. But when you don't capitalize on the concept, like I thought last year they did a really good job of capitalizing on it with those 3 major matches of MJF Tana, Ospreay Omega, and Danielson Okada. Like they did a really good job there with that top 3, but still like there's still a lot of people missing from both companies who you would like to see get involved. So I really hope in the matches that still need to be announced, we kind of get that a little bit. But that was my rant. I had been needing to talk about that one for a while. Let's move on now to a match that I have no qualms with. Bryan Danielson versus Shingo Takagi in the first round of the men's Owen Hart Cup tournament. These two, it's the first round, as I said. The winner of this will go on to face Pac on AEW Dynamite in Chicago on whatever Wednesday that is. I don't know. I think it's July 3rd.
Yeah.
Beach Break. The winner will face Pac, the American Dragon versus the Dragon, the Japanese Dragon, the Spirit of Dragon. Anything you want to say about the Dragon, Shingo Takagi? This is a dream match for me. I love these two men. I've been wanting to see them wrestle forever. I think Bryan Danielson is the greatest wrestler of all time. I think Shingo Takagi in ring is one of the top three at least wrestlers in Japan right now. Especially now that Okada's gone and Ospreay's gone and whatever. It's Shingo was incredible. I'm really excited to see what these two do here. I like that it's in the Owen Hart because it adds that extra level of stakes to it, and so it's not just a normal singles match. It adds something special to it. I think this might be my match of the night, honestly. Just looking at the card, it's going to be really damn good. I have Bryan Danielson, the American Dragon, winning because I think he's going on to face Swerve Strickland at Wembley. Kimmy, who do you have in this Owen Hart Cup match?
Well, I'm not really familiar with Shingo, but I know that you've been really looking forward to this match because literally before it was even announced, you were like, I want this match to happen. And look, it's happening. So I'm excited to see it live. I do agree with you. I do think Danielson is winning this one because I also agree that Danielson, I believe, will be winning the whole Owen and then facing Swerve at Wembley.
I'm quickly checking to make sure that nothing else got announced and I missed it because Dynamite ended and I didn't really see anything. Now
Yeah, I'm
just the
not seeing anything
Osprey.
either.
Yeah, just the Osprey Garcia one. Okay. We'll just kind of keep monitoring it because they're taping Collision right now. But let's move on to let's talk about this trios match and get it out of the way. So no one knows what's going on with this match. The learning tree, Jericho, Big Bill, Brian Keith versus Samoa Joe, Hook, and Katsuyori Shibata is on the Wikipedia page. Then on Dynamite, what happened was Brian Keith is injured, so he cannot be in the match. Chris Jericho called Minoru Suzuki to help him. He played a video. Minoru Suzuki said, "Screw you. I don't actually want to team with you. I just want to fight you." So I think that the plan is to do Jericho versus Suzuki at Forbidden Door and not do the trios match. So I'm going to go under that assumption because that's how they set it up. They set it up for Jericho versus Suzuki. That's kind of what they told us was the plan. So let's go under that. We're just going to make our predictions for Jericho versus Suzuki. I'll throw it to you first because I do have an issue with this match.
So
'Cause of course
talk
I do.
about random New Japan AEW matches happening on this card. So I don't think we need Jericho on this card. I don't think anyone is looking forward to this match. I think people are excited to see Suzuki. I feel like you could have put him somewhere else on the card, maybe another multi-man tag because those are really popular on this show. But the only way I could kind of see the 6-man tag still happening is because I can't see them running Long Island without Hook being on there. So I feel like they'll do something else maybe with what I call team towels in Joe, Hook, and Shibata, just because like that's Hook's hometown, and if you're putting
Mhm.
MJF there, I'm gonna assume you're also gonna put Hook on there. But Jericho's obviously gonna win because Suzuki's not staying here as far as we know of. But yeah, this match shouldn't happen on the show. You could put something else on here instead.
My biggest problem is I prefer this over the trios match. I much prefer it. I'm not gonna watch it either way. So I don't know. Maybe you could get like I don't know. It could be okay. It's FTW rules. Makes it a little better. The biggest issue I have is Chris Jericho, 2022 trios match, 2023 trios match, 2024 in the worst year of his career, probably ever. Like he's really bad. Nobody wants him on TV. Everybody wants him to go away. He's not good. He is objectively bad right now. They put him in a singles match on Forbidden Door for the first time because of course they did. Of course. And then he does the stupid Cody call out and he gets no pop for it because it was a stupid joke from Bad Creative. I don't understand why they would feel the need to put it there, but the reality is Jericho was going to be on the card no matter what. I can't argue with that. I would rather them do the singles match over the trios, so I can't be overtly mad about it. I can just be mad that they put him on TV in general, but I'm yelling at a cloud at that point. Jericho's going to win this. Suzuki's he's 1-6 in his AEW singles matches. He has one win. I don't even know who he beat because I don't remember it. I remember him losing. I got to watch him face Bryan Danielson on that Rampage episode. It wasn't even
Ooh.
Rampage. It was the YouTube. It was the 0 hour for Rampage, the buy-in.
Oh yes, when they did that for like weren't they facing like SmackDown? Wasn't that the reason they did
Yeah,
it for the
they were
ratings?
facing SmackDown. Yeah, it was when SmackDown did something, so they went head to head with SmackDown. I forgot the reasoning for it,
Yeah, I
but yeah,
forgot.
I don't know. Could be good. Probably will be pretty bad. Oh well, it
Maybe
happened.
it
Jericho will
gets
win.
moved to the pre-show.
It's Chris Jericho. He's not wrestling on the pre-show.
Optimistic. You have to manifest it into the universe, Kaden.
Chris Jericho's taken my soul. All right, moving on to the AEW Women's World Championship match. Timeless Toni Storm will defend her title against Mina Shirakawa. Both wrestlers will have Mariah May at ringside for them. She'll be split down the middle. This match has been building for a few months now. They started building it around April. Maybe it was late March that they started building this matchup. So they like genuinely have been planting seeds for a while. So like respect to everybody involved in this. Anybody who had creative involvement to build the Forbidden Door women's match, like one of the Forbidden Door women's matches this far out. It's really good booking, genuinely good long-term storytelling there. Yeah, they're fighting for the love of Mariah May. I'm really interested to see how this goes. Toni Storm, I was very critical of her and her in-ring ability for most of her run as Timeless since she turned. I thought she was doing good character work. It's not personally for me. The character is just not my thing, but I can say objectively she's doing a good job with it. She's getting fans on her side. She's over. I can't argue with that. I say that all the time. I might not like it, but if the fans like it, then I'm clearly the one in the wrong there. So it's okay. I'm okay that it's not from me. But she's done a good job, and since April's Dynasty. It was the Rosa match at Dynasty where she found her working boots, and the Azumi match was where she found her working boots and she started putting on really good matches. And she's working again. Like, she's working to the level that we expect Toni Storm to be working at. And I'm really interested to see what her and Mina do in this match. It's going to be a lot more story based than the other main women's match on the show, which we'll talk about a little bit later. It's just they're gonna be doing a lot of shenanigans with Mariah May, the champagne glasses. It's going to be it should be a fun match. I am very curious about how they agent it, how they lay this match out. A lot of the quality of the match will come from how it's laid out before they even step foot in the ring. But Toni Storm will retain her title, no doubt in my mind. I don't see Mira Shirakawa winning the belt, even though I am extremely excited for her to be wrestling on a big stage. Kimmy, how do you feel about this Women's World Championship match? The first time ever we will see a member of the Stardom roster on Forbidden Door. And do you think Mina has a chance in hell of walking away with that title?
Listen, this has been like 3 years in the making for a Stardom women's wrestler to get on the show. So this is so exciting. This is obviously Mariah May must pick a side. So I think Toni Storm does win. I think that's very obvious. But I think what's going to happen after the match is the eventual turn of Mariah May on Toni Storm. I think that, you know, Mina will be upset after losing, and Mariah's going to comfort her. And then Toni trying to grab Mariah off of her. Toni's going to push her. And then that's going to be the eventual I'm not with you. I'm taking Mina's side. I think that also plays into the fact Mariah has not wrestled in the Owen yet. So it plays into I'm going for revenge because you beat my best friend. And now I'm going to be the one to take the title from you. I think Mariah will be winning the entire Owen tournament, and then that'll lead to Toni versus Mariah, and Mariah will beat Toni for the AEW Women's Championship.
I agree with most of that. Only thing I don't think happens is the turn yet.
Aww.
I think it happens in like mid to late July. I think you let Mariah win. Well, like you let it boil. She beats Mina. She should cheat to beat Mina. Straight up, Toni should cheat. You cheat to beat Mina. It makes Mariah upset. It gives her motivation in the tournament because you see it boil over where she's just getting a little bit angrier and a little bit angrier and a little bit angrier. And then she gets the wins. And then you have maybe 2 weeks after she wins on July 10th. And then you do the turn because Toni does something a little out of pocket. Like she asks her to do the finger poke of doom or whatever. She asks her to lay down for her. And then Mariah, like that makes her go to a point where then she turns. And that's where we get the turn and whatever. I don't know who goes. I think Mariah goes face. That's what I would do. I let Toni stay heel and I'd let Mariah go face, especially if the plan. It depends on who's going to win. If Mariah's winning, Mariah needs to be the face. If Toni's winning, then Toni needs to be the face for the story. I think the story is better to have Mariah be the face. I think Toni's going to be a better heel in that story. So that's what I would do. But I could definitely see the turn happening at Forbidden Door. I would hold off on it a little bit longer just to add some tension there. But either way, we both have Toni Storm retaining, and we have Toni versus Mariah happening at Wembley.
I love when we agree. Makes me feel confident that I'm right.
We agreed on both the Owen winners and both the Owen matches.
And then watch, it's not going to happen.
Watch none of them happen. Look, I wouldn't mind Chris Statlander winning.
I wouldn't either. She was before Mariah was announced in it, she was actually the person I wanted to see win, or Deonna was someone I really wanted to see win, so I wouldn't mind her winning either. But for some reason, I'm the only person that thinks that she's gonna beat Shida. Like, everyone I've talked to is like, Shida's gonna beat Deonna, and I go, but why?
Who would the winner of that face? Do they face Mariah? They face Mariah.
Yeah.
So then Deonna's winning.
That's what I said, but our very good friend Ella J was like, no, Shida's gonna win. And I was no.
I'm 50-50 on it, but it makes more sense to have Deonna win and do Deonna Mariah again. Because the last time they faced, Mariah lost to Deonna.
And now she'll finally get her win.
Yeah, you get the win back. It makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, because then she has to. That's yeah. I think they're also going to give Mariah another win over. I would give her a win over Saraya in the journey at some point, but it wouldn't
Well,
happen quite
isn't
yet.
that the
Oh, that's who she
opening?
faces in the first round.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's yeah. Sorry, I forgot about that. Yeah, that's where I was like, I feel like that got announced. Yeah, so Mariah's gonna get her revenge over Saraya because she lost to her 2 weeks ago, and then she'll get her revenge over Deanna on the way there as well. And then I don't know if she's faced Willow or Chris yet. I think Mariah versus Chris is the finals.
I could see that. And then I think Willow and Chris, it'll eventually happen. Like the singles match will happen again. This is not the only time we're
Yeah,
going to
yeah,
see
they're
the
gonna do
singles
another one at
match.
Wembley. Yeah,
Yeah.
do another at Wembley. They're set for 3 women's matches at Wembley right now.
First
Between
time
that,
ever.
yeah, that Mercedes and the and this one and the Mariah match. Let's move on to talk about another women's match that got announced earlier today on the I think they're going to do it on the 0 hour, but Chris Statlander made a challenge to Willow Nightingale. She will be teaming with Momo Watanabe and said, pick a partner of your choice and let's wrestle at Forbidden Door. And pretty sure it's going to be Tam Nakano. Momo and Tam were both they're not working the Sunday Stardom show. I think they're the only two people who are not, like besides like Mina, who was announced for this show. So it makes sense that Tam's going to be there. Tam and Willow had a match recently in Japan. I really hope I'm not wrong about that. I'm fairly confident they wrestled in May. Kimmy, can you double check that for me so I don't look stupid?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, because they
Yeah,
showed footage from it.
they wrestled while I was in Japan.
Yeah.
I was in Kyoto. Yeah, so it makes sense to do that match. And yeah, I'm really excited for this. I think Tam is a very good wrestler. I don't have a lot of experience watching Momo, but I think this is a really good spot for everybody. I would like it to be on the main card, but I understand why it wouldn't be there just because of spacing issues, because they already have 10 matches announced. I'm okay with this being the women's match on the 0 hour though.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not familiar with either Stardom wrestler, but I'm going to assume because again, hometown Willow. I think that's why they added this match, just because Willow's also from Long Island,
I mean, they're both
and
from Long Island.
that's also true. I was gonna get there. I swear it was gonna happen. So yeah, actually, the last time they were in Long Island, they faced each other at World's End.
Yeah.
On the pre-show, but I think the faces take it. I think this will lead
Mm-hmm.
Stat to be upset, and then I'll lead to the match at Wembley.
Yeah, I agree. I think you have Willow pin Momo, and that allows Willow to then take the loss to Chris. I think whoever wins this match, Chris or Willow, um, they're the one who is losing in the Owen. That's what the 50-50 inherently makes sense. So, yeah, I have Chris winning there, so that makes me think Willow's got to win here. And you have Willow pin Momo there. Yeah, I could see Chris pinning Tam also, but yeah, I got Willow taking the dub. Let's go now to we got a few matches here. Let's go into Konosuke Takeshita, Mark Briscoe, Jack Perry, Dante Martin, Leo Rush, and a mystery opponent in a ladder match for the vacant AEW TNT Championship. Every member of this match won they won a qualifying match to get into this match. Konosuke Takeshita beat somebody, I don't remember. Mark Briscoe also beat somebody, I don't remember. Jack Perry beat Dustin Rhodes. Dante Martin beat Lee Moriarty. Leo Rush beat somebody, I don't remember. As you can tell, I don't remember the qualifying matches to get into this match because they were not that impressive. They kind of just like threw random people onto this and said, who would have a good ladder match? I'll throw you in there. Who should they face to get in? I don't know. Who doesn't have a match this week and what sort of makes sense and what could be a decent matchup? Let's do Lee Moriarty versus Dante Martin on Collision. Sure. Okay. I think this is Jack Perry's match to lose. I'd be shocked. I think it's him and Takeshita are the two main people who could win this. I'm more interested in who the mystery opponent is. Kimmy, I'm going to make you pick first. Who do you think the mystery opponent is?
Well, I think if I was taking the safe bet here and I was not taking a huge gamble, I'm gonna pick I don't know who, but I'm thinking someone from CMLL. Just because I feel like every other company in this match is kind of like represented here. but CMLL, so I'm gonna take the safe bet here. I'm very mad that the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion is in this match for no reason. Because the man, he'll be on his first Ring of Honor taping tomorrow since April. I think that's horrible. I also think you could have put someone else in this position. Daniel Garcia is not on the card. You could have easily put him in here, or at least 2 or 3 other people. But I'm gonna go with the scapegoat. He's the only one within the EVP faction that doesn't have a title, and he needs one. So I think Jack Perry finally gets his TNT Championship reign that everyone has wanted for 2 years now.
So I did a quick Google. Some people think it could be Gabe Kidd in a ladder match. El Phantasmo, ELP, did have a match taped last weekend for Rampage. The speculation is that could be the qualifier for the ladder match. They didn't really talk about it being a mystery opponent. I'm down to 4 people, so 3 of them are completely safe bets. Gabe Kidd. Now I can't remember names. Gabe Kidd, El Phantasmo, Mystico. I could also see somebody showing up who's a lot more out there.
You mean someone that's one and only?
Potentially.
Does he have laser beams in his entrance in another company?
Did he used to have a random gunshot going around during his entrance to let you know that that's who was coming out?
Is he currently engaged to a ring announcer in WWE?
Oh my god, are we talking about Cody Rhodes? No, we're talking about Ricochet. I think there's a strong possibility it could be Ricochet. Ricochet, his contract is up sometime in the future for WWE. We don't know. Nobody really knows because nobody's reported it. So I'm going off of the information in front of me right now. No one knows when this contract is up. But I think it's a possibility. Everybody's kind of said July, so I'm not super confident in it. But if I'm gonna if I'm gonna go out there and be okay, what would be fun? What would be a really fun option? It would be Ricochet. It makes sense to debut him in the ladder match. You let him get to the top like Mustafa Ali did in 2019, the Money in the Bank, and then he's about to grab it, and the ladder gets pushed over, and he loses. Different than Brock, because Brock debuted or returned, but you have Jack Perry come and push the ladder over, and then you have Jack win. You can set up Ricochet versus Jack Perry at Wembley if you're not going to do the Ospreay match there. So I think there's a really good idea there. I'm not super confident on it. I'd say probably 20-25%, but that's still a good possibility.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it too. Like you said, we really don't know all of the information, but I mean, to be fair, July 1st is the next day. So if it expires on July 1st, just have the match after midnight. Just saying. Just saying.
That's 100% what you could do. It would be look, it's a 10-match card. It is very plausible that this show goes past midnight. It'd be cool if we just got to see him show up at all. Honestly, there's a lot of ways you could do it. If you were Tony Khan and you were remember in Double or Nothing 2022 when he purposefully made the show an hour longer because of the NBA Finals? Yeah, he could do that. He could literally he could start the ladder match with 5 participants, have it be the second to last match, and just kill time in the other 8 matches. And you could start the match at 11:45 p.m. And as soon as it hits midnight, one and only, bah, 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 and then he comes out and then he wins the ladder match.
That is such creative speculation. I would love it. That would be crazy.
I would so hard for it.
I'm texting you right away.
Oh my god, I'm free. I'd be crying. I'd be on my knees at my friend's house just sobbing. God, I want it now. That is the 8. But do you have Jack Perry winning?
Yes, I do. I picked Jack Perry as well.
Yeah. The scapegoat Jack Perry makes sense. Give him the TNT title. Let's go now to the winner takes all for the AEW TBS Championship and the New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong Women's Championship, as the TBS champion Mercedes Moné defends against Stephanie Vaquer of CMLL and New Japan Pro Wrestling, who is also defending her title. Both will be defending their titles. This is a fantastic matchup. A lot of history here. These two faced each other in the first round of the 4-women tournament in May. It was May 18th, I think, 2023, New Japan Pro Wrestling Resurgence in Long Beach, California. They faced in the first round. Later, Mercedes won. Later in the night, she went on to face Willow Nightingale. The winner would go on to become the first ever New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong Women's Champion. Mercedes Moné destroyed her ankle during that match. She ended up losing in an audible that was called. Willow Nightingale won the title. Stephanie Vaquer won the title off of Julia. Julia won the title off of Willow. That's why Stephanie Vaquer is now the champion. And Mercedes Moné comes back from her injury at Double or Nothing 2024, beats Willow Nightingale, who beat her a year earlier for that title when she destroyed her ankle, as I mentioned earlier. And now she is the TBS champion. Stephanie Vaquer is the New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong Women's Champion. This is Mercedes going after the title that she should have won over a year ago. 13 months ago, she should have won this title. She got injured. She couldn't. She's coming after the woman who holds it now. Even if it's gone through 2 other women to get to Vaquer, this is now who she has to go through. She beat her once in that first round, as I mentioned. Now, can she beat her again, this time on a significantly larger scale? Stephanie has really elevated since that match. That's really what boosted her into becoming this a very popular women's wrestler, worldwide women's wrestler. And that's what made people realize who she was that Mercedes match. I think this is going to be incredible. I think this is a strong contender for the match of the night. Mercedes has been fantastic all year. Stephanie has also been fantastic all year. I'm really interested in what they do because they're not going to be confined to the reality is that match was very limited. That first one they had at Resurgence because Mercedes had to wrestle later. And so now they get to go all out on this huge stage, a sold out UBS arena. I'm pumped for this. I have Mercedes Moné winning, getting her title, getting her redemption, going on the world tour run that she wants to go on. Kimmy, do you have Mercedes Moné completing her redemption arc here?
Mone 2 belts. I personally don't like that they did the title for title because you don't know how often Mercedes is going to go over to Japan. And I feel like every time a wrestling company does a double title thing, one of those titles always gets forgotten. And I feel like because both titles are also still relatively new. Like the TBS title is only 2 years old, and this New Japan Strong title is only about a year old. So I feel like we can't really have titles that are kind of losing their momentum. So I do hope that when Mercedes wins, both titles are featured pretty prominently. There's no reason why Mercedes should lose here. She literally just came back. She had her first month in over a year about a month ago. So Mercedes will be winning this match.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if she lost here. Wouldn't mind it, to be honest. I like Stephanie a lot. I wouldn't have minded Mercedes losing to Willow because I also really like Willow. Not like I love Mercedes Moné. I think she is one of the best women's wrestlers of all time. But I like seeing interesting stories and I like seeing things go the opposite way sometimes. But yeah, I'm genuinely very excited for this match. I think this is the match, second match I'm most hyped about on this show. Let's go now to another promotion versus promotion title match. Not title for title, but also another match that has a lot of history to it. As Jon Moxley will defend his IWGP World Heavyweight Championship against the man he won it off of on April 12th, 2024 in Chicago, Illinois, the Wintrust Arena, in the leader of Los Ingobernables de Japón, Tetsuya Naito. These two men absolutely hate each other. As I mentioned, Moxley beat him for the title. An incredible match. I was ringside for that match. Amazing match. And then went back. Didn't really defend it much in Japan. He defended it at Wrestling Dantaku against Ren Narita. He defended it at Resurgence in Ontario, California a few weeks later against Shota Umino. Funny story, the day after that match, I met Shota Umino at LAX. Don't know
I
how
love
the
that.
timing worked on that, but I met Shota Umino. I also I was next to Shingo Takagi, but I didn't want to say hi to him because I was a little scared of Shingo. But Shota Umino is like a very like sweet person, so I said hi to Shota Umino and I got a picture with him. But yeah, and then he also defended his title at Dominion against Evil in a lumberjack match. Apparently, he gave Evil like a good match. I have not watched it yet, but I've heard it was good, especially for Evil standards. It was apparently like for Evil standards, I heard it was like a 5-star match for him, but like a 3-star, which it's Evil. He sucks. I'm very excited to see what these two do in their rematch now that the feud has gotten so heavy at this point. Naito confronted Moxley after the match with Evil at Dominion. I think that's where they did it, and then that's what set all of this up. And Moxley said in his promo last week that he is going to kill Naito. He wants to end him. We saw the brawl on Dynamite between LIJ and BCC. We saw Naito and Moxley also brawling with each other ahead of their match. The last one was just a title match. This is a blood feud coming to a head on the grandest stage of them all. For these two companies, Forbidden Door company versus company. I am really excited for what this match is. I'm excited for what they built. I'm excited for what it means. This is an AEW wrestler holding a New Japan title going into the pay-per-view. That is holding the main title too. That is insane. That shows like what this relationship really means. Personally, I'd have this main event. I know it's probably not going to over Swerve and Ospreay, but in terms of what Forbidden Door is, this match is Forbidden Door. I have Naito winning the match for a few reasons. One is that Naito is announced for the G1 Climax tournament and Moxley is not. Second is that Naito is announced for the Capital Collision show in August and Moxley isn't. I think those are two tells that Moxley is going to drop the title here. I also don't think there's any benefit really. I think there is a benefit in it, but I don't see them wanting to have Moxley work the G1 and then stay in and do matches in Japan for the next 6 months until you get to Wrestle Kingdom. Because if he's not dropping it here, he's not dropping it again until Wrestle Kingdom. So I have Moxley dropping the title here, ending his 2-month-long reign or 2.5-month-long reign, and Naito winning it back. Kimmy, who do you have? How do you feel about this match?
I agree. I also think Naito's winning just because I know a lot of people were very critical when Moxley won the title because they felt like New Japan really had nothing to fight for because there were New Japan shows and he wasn't there. And without your main title, what are we really doing? I think it's a really cool staple because Moxley is the first person to ever hold both the AEW and New Japan World Heavyweight Championships. That's a huge deal. He's done it all really because he held the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. So that's a pretty cool thing that Moxley will be able to do in his career. But yeah, I think Naito has to win this match. And I think the other problem with this too is like because Moxley is New Japan champion, he's always constantly booked to win on AEW. So you really don't have anything to do with him because he has to win. And if he drops the title, he could go into more feuds and hopefully they have something big for him planned for All In.
Mm-hmm. I think I definitely prefer to have Moxley win just because I want Shota to win the G1 and then beat Moxley at Wrestle Kingdom. And it's not like out of the realm of possibility, but like everything you said, it just doesn't realistically, it doesn't make sense for Moxley to win this match. Just get the title back in Japan, get them back on track. You did something interesting. You let Moxley build a few guys up and give them some big matches and a different experience. Like that is different for them. Ren, Shota, Evil, and Naito, that is a different thing for them. And hopefully it adds some juice into New Japan that they desperately needed, and they can use the G1 to like really get on track this year because they could have last year and they shit the bed with just a terribly booked G1. So Evil should not be a quarterfinalist this year. No more Evil. End it all. No more Evil.
I'll remember
You don't
that.
watch New Japan enough to know how much we hate Evil.
No. I feel like I have not met Evil. I met a lot of people from New Japan. He's one of them I haven't.
Evil is the Chris Jericho of New Japan.
Oh, ouch. Oof.
But so here, to give people who don't know Evil is not a good wrestler. He's very boring. He works I'm trying to think of who he works. Like, he kind of works like the Miz, but worse. Like Jinder Mahal, I think. I guess more Jinder, but he's not like he's bad. He's very boring. And then in 2020, he created what's called the House of Torture. And the House of Torture, every single match has a ref bump and interference and just bullshit. And his manager is named Dick Togo. And so, what do you think they do when Dick Togo goes to attack somebody whenever the ref is taken out?
They give him a low blow.
And it's called dick to dick action or dick to dick contact or dick to dick action. I forgot the term.
That's
Yeah,
trash.
it's dick to dick. Yeah. It's bad. It's really bad. And they gave him the title twice in 2020.
No.
And then they made
No.
him go to the quarterfinals. No, they might have put him in the semi. No, they might have put him in the semis of the G1. He went really far in the G1.
For no
Yeah.
reason.
No, he's really bad. He's really bad. He's really bad. It's hard to explain how bad he is to people who don't watch the product. But let's talk about two wrestlers who are very good. Will Ospreay will challenge Swerve Strickland for the AEW World Championship in the main event, presumably the main event of Forbidden Door. I'd be shocked if this didn't main event. Will Ospreay, he's the international champion. He will not be defending that title on the show. I wish he was, but
Me
oh well.
too. Can you guess who I
I would
think he should be defending against?
have Daniel Garcia.
Yeah.
I would have done. I really wanted Swerve to wrestle Yota Tsuji on this show. I feel like they'd have a fun match. Like we all know Swerve's winning, but Swerve and Yota Tsuji could be fun. And I would have done like Will versus. I don't know who I would have done Will versus. Like I think Will versus Shota could have been really good because they have some really good matches together. I think doing Will and Shota in like a 15-minute match would be really fun. It's Will. Like there's a million people you could have put Will against. Like you could have done Hiromu again. There's options. Oh,
I was just gonna say, breaking
yeah.
news.
I'll wait
Jeff?
and see. I'll wait and see what they talk about before we talk about that. But Jeff Cobb
That's
showed up
smart.
on Collision. So spoiler warning. I don't care enough to spoil y'all. I don't care. But let's talk about this main event. Will Ospreay, he is the international champion, as I mentioned. This is his first year at Forbidden Door under the AEW banner, as well as Kazuchika Okada. But Will is actually in a prominent match. Okada isn't, because of course he's not. Will Ospreay won the Casino Gauntlet match at AEW Dynamite in Los Angeles. I don't remember the day. I think it was like May 31st, something like that. I don't know. It was May. I know it was in May. And at the Kia Forum, he won the match. And he earned his title shot against his friend, Swerve Strickland. And I actually think they've done a very good job of building this match and like adding some animosity between these two people. Swerve has been saying that Will does not have that killer instinct, which they've been building since the Danielson match when he injured Danielson with the Tiger Driver. And it's been a really good story, like genuinely been a like really good story that they've been telling with that move, and Will not having the not being able to take the kill shot, which goes back to Swerve's days in Lucha Underground, where he was called Kill Shot. So I'm really interested to see how they lay this match out, how they do everything. I could very much see if this does not main event, I could see this being a DQ. If this does main event, I could see this having some shenaniganery from Maxwell Jacob Friedman, costing Will Ospreay the match here. But I do expect Swerve to retain his title. I'd be a little shocked if he didn't win this match. Like honestly, I'd be really shocked if he didn't win this match. Swerve should win it. Still, like I've said it for weeks, not what I would have done here. I don't really mind it because it's a good match and they've told a good story getting here. Just not what I would have done at Forbidden Door. I know why they did it. I talked to people who I got to explain to me why they decided to go with it, and they've explained it on TV. And sure, fine, it'll be good. I got Swerve winning. Who you got, Kimmy?
I agree. I think whatever the first draft of this Forbidden Door card was, whenever they made that first draft, I think there were two totally different plans for both of these men. Whether that be injury, visa issues, or whatever else, I have no idea what goes on backstage. I do not work for AEW. Maybe one day I will, hopefully. if anyone's listening. Hi. So I guess like you said, I would not have done this match. I don't think the main event of this card should be two AEW wrestlers facing off against each other. It ruins the whole point of the Forbidden Door show. I also think Swerve is winning. I could see it being with like a double DQ or whatever because Will is one of your hottest things on AEW TV. Swerve is obviously World Heavyweight Champion. You don't need either of them losing, especially since both of them relatively just won their respective titles. But yeah, Swerve will be walking out champ. We just don't know how. But Swerve is
Yeah.
walking out the AEW World Heavyweight Champion.
So to circle back on a few things here before we close out this prediction show. Jeff Cobb showed up on Collision to help Jericho and to back up Jericho's crew. So there are a few things here that we don't really know. One, I guess there's two possibilities. One is that they're going to do Jeff Cobb against Samoa Joe and Suzuki versus Jericho. The other option is they just do a 6-man and they put Jeff Cobb in the spot that Suzuki was supposed to be in, and then they did that, and they could do Jericho versus Suzuki on like Dynamite or something. I prefer the first option, the 2 singles matches. I don't know what they're going to end up doing. I don't know. Predictions for all of them is Samoa Joe should win. I'm just going to say Samoa Joe wins everything. So that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, whatever faces, team towel, whatever you want to do. Tony Khan also just tweeted out, it will be on the 0 hour, that Statlander and Nightingale tag match, and we were right of who we thought the tag partner for Willow was.
Oh, yeah. Willow Nightingale and Tam Nakano versus Chris Statlander and Momo Watanabe. We got that right. I didn't even know. There's proof of this somewhere where I told Kimmy, I said, it's going to be Tam Nakano. And then they found out that she wasn't booked. And I was like, oh, that's right. It was Tam Nakano. I guessed because it made sense. So
that is true. I originally was like, oh my God, it could be Camille Brickhouse. It could be Megan Bain. I was really trying to think outside the box here. And Kaden was like, no. I was like, okay.
I knew immediately. That was my first thought when I saw the announcement earlier today. I was like, oh, she's gonna team up with Tam. Like that's what just immediately came to my mind was Tam. But I'm really interested to see that match, and then obviously like what they do with Cobb. That'll be announced in the next few days. Can't do anything about that. I assume we also get Gabe Kidd, Kyle O'Reilly, because I know they did Roddy and Gabe Kidd had a tag match on Rampage that was taped last week, and El Phantasmo did too. I expect all 3 of those men to be added to something. I had said maybe they do Gabe Kidd versus Kyle O'Reilly on the pre-show. I think that could be fun. I could see them doing Gabe Kidd, Roddy, and Kyle in a trios match against Shane Haste, Robbie Eagles, and maybe one other person. It could be an AEW person. It could be a New Japan person. There's other members of TMDK they could put in that spot. They could do Gabe Kidd and Kyle, or Gabe Kidd and Roddy versus Shane Haste and Robbie Eagles. I don't know. There's cool options here that they could do. Oh no, I think they actually might have done the TMDK match already. I don't know. They've done things on Rampage that we will see eventually. I don't know. There's more matches that will be added to the show. I assume at least 3 more. We tried our best, everybody. Kimmy,
we tried.
Kimmy, thank you so much for joining me on this prediction show for AEW Forbidden Door, taking place on June 30th, 2024 on Long Island at the UBS Arena. You will be at the show. So where can people find you to keep up with your coverage of Forbidden Door?
So you can follow me at Kimmy_Sokol, but I will be live tweeting from at the pop break, literally no spaces, underscore dots, or anything. I'll be live tweeting over there. But yeah, if you want to follow my personal stuff and you want to get more of what I do, you can follow me at Kimmy_Sokol. You'll get a lot of Ring of Honor rants for me because that show likes to break my heart every Thursday for about an hour and a half. Then I also write the Ring of Honor reviews on PW Insider. I also, Ella just sent us a picture of Samoa Joe and Jeff Cobb. I also do a lot of stuff on the Pop Break. I recently reviewed the entire Who Killed WCW series, which, by the way, Kaden and I were not even born by the time that WWE bought WCW. So every time I mention that on a pod, everyone just like looks at me really weird, and I'm like, damn, I'm sorry. But the other cool thing I do is I work the convention scene. I work with a lot of top talent. So if you're going to Cleveland for SummerSlam and you're looking for something to do before SmackDown, before SummerSlam, time, head over to WrestleCon Cleveland. You can go to WrestleCon.com. There is 2 days of just so many talent. The Garcia twins are going to be there on Saturday. Sting, Trish, head over to WrestleCon.com and see all the talent announcements. And yeah, thanks for having me, Kaden. I had a lot of fun.
Thank you so much for coming on. It was very fun to talk about this show with you, and our first time ever on camera together. You guys can follow me on Twitter at Kaden, KADEN_FTW. I will not be at Forbidden Door, but you can just look at me tweet about the Florida Panthers winning the Stanley Cup. I'll be at the parade on Sunday, so I'll be doing that and then going to watch Forbidden Door with some friends. But I'll be tweeting about the show. I'm sure I'll be angry about something. I'm always angry about something. I will also have a feature story coming out for Wrestle Purist, hopefully before Forbidden Door, on Will Ospreay and how he has how Forbidden Door, the event itself over the years, is a really good symbol for how he has, no pun intended, elevated in his career, going from the match with Orange Cassidy to the match with Kenny Omega to the presumed main event for the AEW World Championship. I'm going to talk about that and how that really is a good benchmark. That's what I was looking for. It's a very good benchmark for Will Ospreay's career and where he's gone since 2022. So just stay on the lookout for that. Hopefully by the time I get this uploaded, it might be up. So go to WrestlePurist.com, go check that out. WrestlePurist will also be at the Scrum. Charlie will be there. So check out her coverage as well and anything that we post. So support everybody who will be at the Scrum. Support all the content creators because they are all wonderful, especially Kimmy and Charlie, my people that I got